So, hello guys. Um, Today in our Modern America series, we are going to be talking about John F. Kennedy. We are starting our dive into the 1960s. This chapter is called Promise and Turmoil. Let's start by reading their introduction to the 1960s. The 1960s were in many ways both the best and worst of times. On the one hand, the post-war economic prosperity peaked in the 1960s. At the same time, racial strife, a controversial war in Vietnam, and student ratification started to tear the country apart. The proud superpower began to learn its limits both in the jungles of Vietnam and on the streets of home. So, what were they talking about? What was this turmoil that they are referring to? We are going to start by discussing two presidents, one in this video and one in next video, JFK and, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to be incorrect here, and LJ, Lyndon Johnson. So that's our two presidents we are going to study in this video and next video. So let's talk about the election of 1960. President Eisenhower had not been able to transfer his popularity to other Republicans, and the Democrats retained control of Congress through Eisenhower's last 2 years of office. So we go into the election of 1960 Democratic control. So last 2 years of Eisenhower's presidency, it was Democratic controlled. At their 1960 convention, the Republicans unanimously elect Richard Nixon for president. During his 8 years as Eisenhower's vice president, Nixon had gained a reputation as a statesman in his diplomatic travels to Europe and South America. In a visit to Moscow, he stood up in Nikita Savitz in the so-called kitchen debate over the relative merits of capitalism and communism. Still young at 47, Nixon was known to be a tough and seasoned campaigner. So the Republicans had Nixon for president. Early in 1960, several Democrats believed they had a chance at the nomination. Liberal Democrats Hubert Humphrey of Minnesota and Adlai Stevenson of Illinois were in the contest. And Southern Democrats supported the Senate Majority Leader Lyndon B. Johnson of Texas. In the primaries, however, a charismatic, wealthy, and youthful 43-year-old senator from Massachusetts, John F. Kennedy, defeated his rivals. Going into the convention, he had just enough delegates behind him to win the nomination. To balance his ticket, the New Englander chose a Texan, Lyndon B. Johnson, for his vice presidential running mate, a choice that proved critical in carrying southern states in November's election. So, Democrats Kennedy. So let's talk about the campaign and results. The campaign. The new medium of television was perhaps the most decisive factor between the two youthful campaigners, Nixon and Kennedy. In the first of 4 televised debates, the first such debates in campaign history, Kennedy appeared on screen as more vigorous and comfortable than the pale and tense Nixon. On the issues, Kennedy attacked the Eisenhower administration for the recent recession and for permitting the Soviets to take the lead in the arms race. In reality, what Kennedy called a missile gap was actually in the U.S. favor, but his charges seem plausible after Sputnik. As the first Catholic presidential candidate since Al Smith, Kennedy's religion became the issue in the minds of some voters. Religious loyalties helped Nixon in rural Protestant areas, but helped Kennedy in large cities. So this boils down to let's give it 2 key things we just watched. TV debates and religion. So the TV helped who better? Kennedy, right? Kennedy. What do you think religion helped with? Nixon? That's what it seems like, but Kennedy had support. Kennedy with large cities. And why would that be? In one of the closest elections in U.S. history, Kennedy defeated Nixon by little more than 100,000 popular votes and by slightly wider margins of 303 to 219 in the Electoral College. Many Republicans, including Nixon, felt the election had been stolen by Democratic political machines in states like Illinois and Texas by stuffing ballot boxes with votes of the deceased. So, was this election, big word these days, you hear it in the news a lot. This election really started this. Was it rigged? Was it rigged? That's a mind-boggling question, isn't it? What if the election of 1960 was rigged? We are going to take a break here. That's the first video of John F. Kennedy's administration because of election of 1960. Wanted to get all this on the board. Next video we'll talk about domestic policy before we go into Lyndon Johnson's Great Society, and was it great? So thanks for joining us in Modern America Discussions for APUSH.